everybody. Sorry about the bad lighting. I'm sitting in the sun. Two of my boys are at baseball practice. The other one decided to stay home. I don't blame him. He's a teenager, so he's doing fine at home. But it's kind of chilly out tonight, so I decided to stay in the car. It's been a long day. I had 3 hours of rehab. I had physical, occupational, and speech. And I'd been doing a lot of testing last week in speech. It's the first time I've been tested since last August. I know that I talk mostly about the gene mutation on here, but I also was diagnosed probably, I think, 2014 with mild cognitive impairment. So the testing I did today was to compare scores from about last August, I think, to now, and I didn't fare so well. My scores are going down. It's getting low. They didn't use the word dementia yet. Of course, the doctor has to they're waving at me, making sure I'm watching them. A doctor has to diagnose it. But anyway, I'm going to cut off for a second. One of my children had a problem, and then I'll get back on with you later. I'm back. I'm sorry. I had to answer a text from my oldest. He was at home. He thought he heard somebody upstairs and scared him. But we have dogs that we keep in the house. So I have a Rottweiler. She's 52 pounds and it's nothing but solid muscle. But she's a sweetheart. But she's scary. So he thinks that it was her walking around upstairs. We also have a Aussie, and she would tear anybody apart that came in the house. So then we also have a mixed breed that's about 20 pounds, and he'd growl and hide, but my oldest feels like everything's okay. He thinks it was the dogs up there walking around because they weren't down. He plays games down in the basement, have an Xbox down there, and he thought that something was down upstairs, but it turned out to be dogs, and he's feeling safe now. So I thought I started running home to get him, but it turns out it was the dogs, so everything's okay. Anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch, scores didn't come out too good. I am a single mother of 3 boys, and I do not have a caretaker right now, or caregiver. I need one desperately. I'm talking to Real Services about getting somebody in. I'm trying to get, I do have Medicare, but it doesn't help for anybody to come in. I might be, because I'm disabled, be able to get a waiver and then be able to get somebody in. I'm working on that right now. But we need somebody. I'm starting to get in situations where I'm having trouble telling the difference between reality and fantasy. I watch a TV show, and then I think that it really happened instead of being a TV show. I had a situation. This is Monday that I'm recording this, but I had a situation on Friday. I taught at school that my kids go to for 28 years, and so I pretty much know everybody and their grandparents and their parents and their kids and the aunts and uncles, and know family histories. It's a small community. And so I went to this. I took the boys to the well, what most schools call a fun fair. And so anyway, got in there, and I was having a terrible time matching faces with names. I didn't know people's names. I didn't recognize people. I wasn't sure how I knew them. I faked most of the conversations, pretending to know people. I finally was about ready to freak out and go sit in the van, and I decided to go sit in the cafeteria because it was quieter. And a lady came and sat across from me, started talking and about when I was her teacher, and I thought that I'd already talked to her, but it turned out to be a different person, and we talked one-on-one, and it got a little better. I could understand her. I was still having trouble remembering having her as a student, and she was one of my band students. So I taught band for several years, and I'm usually pretty clear on my band students. So she went back to work, and I was about ready to go leave again. And in walked a lady I knew 30 years ago that I used to play softball with. And she's not from the community, she's from a different community. And a sense of calm came over me because I recognized her, remembered her family. So I sat down and talked to her the rest of the evening, and that seemed to calm me. We got through it. Then that night I had a nightmare about my neighbors, and when I woke up, I could not shake the feeling that something was wrong. I needed to check on them, and it bothered me, and I was going to go over there, and I was out in my yard, and they happened to drive by, so I stopped them and just told them that I had a bad nightmare about them, and gave them both a hug. And once I saw that they were okay and talked to them and saw that everything was fine, I calmed down. Those two incidents scared me pretty badly. The other one that scared me the most was there's a TV show called Designated Survivor, and it's about, for those of that don't know what it is, it's about the government in real life. There's 12 or 13 people that are in line for presidency, and every time there is a State of the Union or something where everybody is together, one person in that line is pulled out, and one person from Congress is pulled out, and they're designated survivors, so that if something happens and everybody's killed, those two people are responsible for reforming the government. So that's what this show's about. So in the show, the Capitol building gets blown up, of course, and the designated survivors have to rebuild the country. Well, I watched that, and then I was watching the news, and they were talking about the Capitol building, or showing pictures of the Capitol building, and I kept thinking, well, they can't use the Capitol building. It exploded. And it took probably a good week or so for me to get it straight in my head that one was a TV show and the other one was real life, and that the two were not the same. And so overall, it's been kind of a sad day for me. I'm scared for the future. I'm scared for my children. Right now, they're still very active. I'm keeping them active in organizations. I'm also, they eat like horses, and they're clean. They get really good grades. They have perfect attendance at school, with the exception of one was sick one day. So they're doing really well. I put all the energy that I have into taking care of them. While they're at school, I rest and do what I can, and then when they come home, then I'm up and I use those 4 or 5 hours before they go to bed to fake being okay. Like my speech pathologist said today, she said, even though I fake pretty good, having help and not having to fake all the time would probably relieve some of the stress. And she's probably got a point there. It would. if I could just get the right person in. The real services, if I get somebody in through there, they can only take care of me. They can only do my laundry. They can only buy my food. They can only fix my food. So that doesn't help me with 3 boys. So I'm hoping maybe to find somebody privately. But I don't know. I don't know right now what to do. If any of you watching this have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. But I just needed to share this. I know we're a small community, and right now there's not a whole lot people watching, but you know, each community helps. And I also have a Facebook page about this, so for mild cognitive impairment, that I am the administrator for, which is kind of a joke because I think I'm getting worse, and I don't know how to support people at this point. Though they do tease me, I put down what day it is every day, and they tease me about how do I know what day it is. So they get it. But it's nice to have a community, a few and far between. But I thought maybe this wouldn't be bad to document from me, from starting from the beginning stages of this disease. You know, I don't know what will come of it. I'm going to try to document as much as I can and upload it as I go through this. I know there's I watch some of the channels that there's a channel called JoJo that he's a caregiver and takes care of his mother, and I think at some point you know, I'm going to be there and won't be able to post, but hopefully that will be a few years from now, and at that point somebody else can take over this page and continue it on. But here it is at the beginning. You know, like I said, I got the mild cognitive impairment diagnosis a few years ago. Today all my numbers were down into the severe, moderate, and severe impairment area. I don't know that I want to go to the doctor and get diagnosed. I'm not sure what kind of doctor to go to, but I don't know that there's anything they can do about it. I don't know if it would, what purpose it would serve to have the diagnosis. Or am I just avoiding the inevitable? I don't know. But that's something to be decided later. I can't decide it all in one day. There was an insurance mix-up today, so that was my anxiety for today. And so, well, I'll save that anxiety problem for another day. And I don't know, maybe some of you have some ideas. Feel free to comment below. I always try to comment back. I also, if you're interested in watching this journey, please subscribe. I try to always have a smile on my face, and I try to find humor in things. A little bit more trouble today than normal, but I will tell one thing. I'm sitting here at the ballpark, and these kids were throwing baseball at each other and kept rolling into the car. And finally I heard this kid say, if you throw that and it hits this van, it's your fault. And he's standing next to the van, so I opened up the door. He had no idea it was in the car. And I said, well, don't stand next to the car. Boy, he took off like a bat. And he took off, and the kid that was with him both ran and hid, so I don't think they knew anybody was in the van.